Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher, and here I'm teaching you how I've lost 60 pounds with 40 more to go by substituting the foods that I used to love for foods that love me back. So if you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. All right, you guys, so I made crab cakes today for lunch. Let me go over the recipe with you. This I originally saw on the Food Network Kitchen, and this is a Pioneer Woman Ree Drummond recipe, but I've substituted a few things out for things that I can have. So let me walk you guys through it. So the recipe does call for panko breadcrumbs, and I made that version yesterday for football. But today I substituted these Crunchmaster cassava crackers because, like I said, I'm trying to avoid all grains. So you'll see where I put them in a Ziploc bag and I just beat them with the rolling pin to kind of get that breadcrumb taste or texture. We've got our eggs, we've got our parsley already chopped up in the fridge, try to keep some veggies prepped on hand. Goat's butter, the recipe calls for butter, and I try to avoid dairy, so this is the goat's butter that I like to use. We've got a couple containers here of crab from Publix. I was trying to get like a smaller crab piece, like the claw, but this one is the jumbo lump, so it's a little big. You'll see it kind of fell apart, but it was still very tasty. A lemon, you will need the zest, so the rind of the lemon, as well as the juice from the lemon for the remoulade sauce. If you don't have fresh lemon on hand, a hack that I found yesterday, if you have lemon extract, I should have had a bottle with me, but if you have extract in your spice rack, that works just as well. You'll need mayonnaise, you'll need Old Bay seasoning, and then for the remoulade sauce, some freshly cracked black pepper, some capers, and some garlic salt. All right, so I started to get my ingredients together. You'll see that I'm portioning out here our mayo, our parsley. I think this is 2 tablespoons of parsley. I think this is like a quarter cup of mayo. It was a teaspoon and a half of the Old Bay, and I'll link the recipe down in the description. It also called for a half a cup of breadcrumbs, but because I'm not using breadcrumbs, I just put enough crackers to fill up a half cup so that I knew what the portion was. That's about 16 crackers, which is my daily allotment. And since I ate half of the recipe, I have half left to go. All right, so you'll see here to make the breadcrumbs, literally I just put the cassava crackers in a Ziploc bag and went to work with the rolling pin until it started busting out. So I've got something like a breadcrumb here and it seemed to work fine. Back to the gravy boat. In order to melt my butter, I just put I think it was a couple tablespoons of butter melted in the microwave. Like I've shared with you guys before, I love the gravy boats. It's glass, it's got that nice sturdy bottom. You can see through, so when it's bubbling, you can take it out, and a really cool handle that actually stays cool, and then you can just pour it as you need it. All right, so now basically for the crab cake, you start with 1 cracked egg in the bowl and you just beat it. And then you're just gonna put all the ingredients in there together. So let's walk through what I did. All right, so we've got our melted butter in the microwave. That's nice and ready to come out. So you can see here, I've got the egg, I've got the mayonnaise, I've got the Old Bay seasoning, the parsley, Dijon mustard. I think I forgot that in the original picture, but the recipe does call for Dijon. And now it's time to zest a lemon. So I went to work with the lemon zest and got it all in there. You just get all the way down until you start to see the white, turn to the next yellow portion and keep zesting. Scrape it all in there. And then you just mix it up. So you've got this nice soupy, colorful swirl going on. And then once you have that done, you're ready to put in your crab. So this recipe calls for a pound of crab, which is 16 ounces. So I have 2 8-ounce containers. I only ate half because my portion is 8 ounces. But I wonder, I wish I could half this recipe, but there's not, well, I guess you could half an egg, but I just made the whole thing. And I made 6 big crab cakes and I ate 3 today. I'll have 3 tomorrow because I'm only eating 1 big meal a day. And this was that. I think the recipe calls for about 8 medium-sized crab cakes, but I did 6 big ones. Okay, so you dump in your lump crab and then you dump in your breadcrumbs. So you can see I substituted my crackers. I probably should have put them in the food processor to get all the jagged pieces like breadcrumbs, but I didn't. So this is what I'm working with. All right, so then you just get the spatula and you just start moving that stuff in. You don't want to like mash it because you still want to be able to identify your crab, but you really want to incorporate all of the goodness together. All right, so we've got our crab mixture mixed up. Then you want to get a baking sheet. I use the air fryer as much as I can, especially when I'm just cooking for one or just me and the kids. I try not to use the oven if I don't have to. So you want to get your baking sheet and then you want to butter the baking sheet before you put anything on it. So you can use a regular stick of butter and just crayon all over it. Or what you can do, like I did, I just poured a little circle of the melted butter here and I brushed it all over the baking sheet. So when they're done, they're easy to come off. All right, now you're going to start making your crab cakes. So you use a measuring cup. This is how Bree demonstrated it. She used 1/3 of a cup, I believe. This might be a little bit bigger. Maybe it's a half, I don't know. But you wanna scoop in some crab cake mixture. And then what I did with my other hand is I used a spatula to really press it and pack it down. Bree used her hands to fold it. I didn't want to get it on my hands. So I hold the measuring cup and then use a spatula to really pack it in. Why is that important? Because you want to put it down onto the baking sheet and you want it to still keep its structure. So you'll see here, once I turn it over, just tap, tap, tap and get it to come out. Maybe because I didn't use actual breadcrumbs, they kind of softened a little bit, but it was fine to me. So I scooped out all my little crab cakes, got everything out of the bowl. And then the last step before you put them into the oven or the air fryer is it says to brush them with the melted butter. I use the gravy boat and I just kind of poured a little bit on top so you can see here the melted butter is running. So you have butter on the bottom and butter on the top. So they're going to be all nice and sizzly and golden. All right, so we put those in the air fryer. You're supposed to broil them, I think, for about 5 minutes. I use the seafood setting, so maybe it was like 8 minutes at about 400, but you always want to keep an eye on it because everything's pretty much done except for the egg, so you just want to make sure that it binds together. All right, so now for the remoulade sauce. It's really simple. It's a mayonnaise and lemon juice based sauce, so you need a tablespoon of capers drained, and then I just use this Pampered Chef food chopper, so you can get your capers chopped up really nicely there. Dun, dun, dun. It didn't take long. The crab cakes were done. They came out bubbling and sizzling. You can see here, because I have the lump crab, you see the big pieces of crab as opposed to smaller ones. And because there's not real breadcrumbs in there, it's more it's less uniform. You got like, crab over here and a little bit over here. Y'all, it tasted so good. All right, so we're gonna let those cool while we make the rest of this remoulade sauce. So what you've got in your sauce, you've got your mayonnaise, you've got your capers, you've got your garlic sauce, and then that lemon that you zested earlier, you wanna put in the lemon squeezer and squeeze all of the juice out. So you can see here, I got my lemon squeezer going and I'm pressing hard and I'm getting all the lemon juice. So you want the juice from a whole lemon and then you just stir it up. And that is a wonderful sauce, or I used it as a dressing because I put the crab cakes over a bed of spinach and drizzled with the sauce. So this was my lunch today, guys. It was amazing. I put a couple lemon wedges here just as a garnish, but I had a lot of lemon going on. But yeah, you can see here, oh, when I tore into it, it was so flaky and it was so yummy. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think and we'll see you on the next recipe. Bye, everyone.